She hugged the little boy and lifted him high, not knowing that he was actually an adult man. The most brutal madman in the entire empire was thus picked up by the girl and brought home. A greasy and sleazy old man had his eye on the little boy in the cage, wanting to buy him as a plaything. The girl sat in the venue, listening to the noble's increasingly vulgar talk. Anger welled up in her heart. The boy was the highlight item of the auction. The host enthusiastically introduced him, saying he had power comparable to fairy kind. Yet his abilities were now restrained. Such a small child, his eyes completely devoid of life, just like the death row inmates executed not long ago. The girl asked the knight for his cloak, then ordered him to call her brother. 3 billion, 3 billion, 500 million, 4 billion. As the bids went higher and higher, with a loud crash, she chopped through the gallery's partition, then began fighting with the surrounding mercenaries. She wanted to rescue the boy. Laro knew her own strength was not enough to handle nearly 10 mercenaries. She only needed to hold them off until her brother arrived, that is, the vice captain of the Royal Knights. Outnumbered, she was knocked to the ground. A mercenary raised his sword and brought it down toward her. Her brother arrived just in time. He angrily scolded his impulsive sister. "I'll deal with you when we get back," then went to chase after the escaping mercenaries. Since her brother had arrived, she didn't need to worry about the aftermath. She used her sword to measure the distance between the cage and the boy, and struck with full force. She chopped it into pieces. The little boy looked at her in shock. "Come with me, sister is here to save you." He followed the girl, as if in a trance. No, what was he doing? Inside the carriage, the knight looked worried. "Young lady, you were too reckless. The auction venue is the playground of the crown prince." The royal family was already dissatisfied with the Adero family for not paying taxes. But even so, Laro couldn't bear to see such a small child become a plaything for the nobles, born with such fine features yet ending up in that place. Who knows what he's been through? Their gazes toward the boy grew increasingly sympathetic, which made him extremely uncomfortable. The knight shuddered. He felt like the boy was cursing with his expression. Soon they arrived at the Adero house. Lara was worried the boy might be afraid, and was about to explain the situation to him, when she heard a childish yet cold voice. "Who asked you to meddle?" She was stunned, because he had been so quiet. She thought he couldn't speak. The boy laughed, seeing her surprised face. "So what do you want to do with me?" Clearly, he had taken her for a bad person too. What kind of environment must he have lived in to be so defensive toward others? "Little one, I would never force you to do anything." The boy shook off her hand. "Stop pretending to be kind." He jumped out of the carriage and walked toward the forest. Laro followed him. "It's very dangerous this late at night." "Where are you going?" Seeing the boy not responding, she began to scare him. "There are big snakes on these mountain paths. Those snakes are very terrifying. Even I don't dare walk these paths alone at night." The boy turned back in annoyance. "Hey, what do you want?" but tripped over a stone because he wasn't looking ahead. The girl caught him just in time. "See? I told you it was dangerous here. Are you hungry? Would you like sister to get you something to eat?" The boy's expression worsened. He was cursing with his eyes again, but the girl didn't know. She didn't know that the one she picked up wasn't a real child, but a monster who could destroy a country with his power alone. It was also he who pushed the Romanic Empire to its peak. The Duke of Eskar, feared even by the Emperor. And so the girl brought him home. The little boy obediently cut his meat. Though she had wondered which noble family he might be from, she hadn't expected his dining etiquette to be so perfect. "This is milk produced in our territory. It's delicious, try it." He was indifferent, but after tasting it, he was amazed. "How is it? Delicious, right? Little piggy, you're here plundering food again." Her second brother had returned. From her brother's blood-stained gloves, she knew he had been busy until now. "Brother, thank you for your hard work. If you know I'm working hard, then stop causing trouble." "But who is this?" "This is a child I rescued from the auction house." Her brother's gaze made the boy uncomfortable. The siblings were equally annoying to him. Her brother worried she had exposed her identity. "Don't worry, I was wearing a cloak, and I used the name of Mosquito." "Really? That's well done." The boy was confused. "What's Mosquito?" "Oh, that is the Rafea family who neighbors us but has always coveted our territory." The boy thought this was stupid after hearing it. "Even if you do this, you can't hide from the royal family." He muttered, "I think you're tired of living." The siblings heard him clearly. "Laro, did you feed him something bad?" The boy, even after finishing his bath and sitting on the bed, still didn't understand why he was wasting time here. His plan had been going smoothly. He should have burned those perverts at the auction house to ashes, if it weren't for her. The boy sighed. Every time he thought about going home, she would follow and interfere. Even now, the girl entered the bedroom. "Are you afraid of the dark? I'll light a candle for you. If you're thirsty, drink this." Could she really be taking care of him? But the women he met before, though gentle at first, in the end. Laro tied up her long hair and suddenly turned to him. "Lie down." He clenched his fist, thinking, "If you come over, I'll kill you." But the girl only reminded him to sleep. "The mosquitoes here are very poisonous. You'd better close the window. I'll go now. Good night." Could she really have rescued him without any ulterior motive? What a strange person. He looked out the window. Laro Noya, a woman like the moon. Brilliant butterflies flew into the bedroom, surrounding him with a soft glow. They landed on his arm, but the next moment, these beautiful creatures began to devour his magic. The boy frowned. They're taking quite a lot this time. It seems he had wasted a lot of energy. Outside the door came the voices of the siblings. Laro treated him like a real child, still worried he might be afraid or anxious. How ridiculous. When they fall asleep, he would leave immediately. But the Duke was proven wrong once again. He not only fell asleep, but slept soundly until the break of dawn. The girl leaned by the bed. Hey, did you sleep well? The boy got up directly saying he needed to go back. But Laro said, after breakfast, I'll take you to the blacksmith shop. This immediately piqued the boy's interest. The Adaro family was known worldwide for their skill in forging weapons. He had observed when he arrived yesterday. The weapons here were well made. No, they were exceptionally excellent. As a war maniac, Eskar naturally became interested. Isn't it great? Girl moved closer. Don't be fooled by my appearance, I can make weapons of that caliber too. He wouldn't doubt it for a second. Those hands were evidence enough. Seeing the boy's interest in weapons, Laro decided to take him to see the blacksmith shop. She found a pair of shoes and handed them to him. The boy put them on carelessly. The shoes were loose on his feet. Laro sighed. She bent down to tie his shoelaces. Even if it's inconvenient when taking them off, you should tie your shoelaces properly. Only when your shoes fit well will your body feel comfortable and at ease. The boy just looked at her without speaking, but Laro didn't mind. Well then, let's go. We need to cross a mountain to get there. I'll carry you. Just then, she noticed someone behind the boy. The moment he were discovered, that person grabbed the boy. The child's body plus the resentment from yesterday's disrupted plan made the already displeased Eskar want to kill. Fire ignited in his hand. Just as he was about to burn the man to ashes, Laro caught up. Why is she here again? Seeing he was about to be caught, the man in black had no choice but to release the boy and escape alone. Laro anxiously checked if the boy was injured. He stopped her. Don't worry about me. Come on, chase after that person. An intruder in the territory should indeed be dealt with first. Laro told the boy not to wander off and chased after the man, but she didn't expect it to be a trap. The Rafea family had ambushed her ahead. Their target was that child. You don't even know who that child is. Hand him over to us. Laro refused without even thinking. The child isn't here, and regardless of who that child is, I won't hand him over to you. She had promised to protect him. This angered Red Hair. Just as he was about to reveal the boy's identity, the boy walked out. My name is Eskar. Red Hair laughed. You came here to get yourself killed. If you obediently leave him behind, I might consider sparing your life. Faced with the threat of archers, Laro still wouldn't back down. Keep dreaming. What? Do you want to be pierced by countless arrows? Stop pretending to be kind. You took the child for the same reason. Before he could finish, a whistling sound came through the air. The girl had thrown something at him. His face was cut. Thanks to the spy you sent, I have an extra arrow to throw at you. Next time I'll put an arrow through your head. This crazy woman. Laro shielded the boy behind her. I indeed can't beat so many soldiers, but before you worthless lot finish me off. She pointed her sword forward, her gaze determined. I will first cut off your head. However, if you leave now, I'll let you go. Get lost. This scared Red Hair. He hadn't seen Laro Noya for too long, almost forgetting what kind of person she was. She always meant what she said, and besides, that person was there. He ordered his subordinates to retreat, but not without making threats before leaving. The little boy peeked out thinking this man at least knew his limits. Seeing them gone, Laro sighed in relief. Though she had said those words, she wasn't confident she could escape unharmed. She turned to look at the boy. Eskar. What? So your name is Eskar? This smile somehow embarrassed the boy. Don't do that. She caught up and continued to tease him. But I'm afraid I'll be scolded. Why? The sword I just threw was from Kaigoro. I should have thrown the spy's sword first. Eskar was confused about who that was. Soon he got his answer. Due to his adorable appearance, he was surrounded by a group of burly men. The leader was Kaigaro. Compared to his earlier frivolous demeanor, they transformed completely when forging iron. Laro suddenly spoke. Don't you think it's handsome? Although anyone can forge, to infuse your soul into it every time is no easy task. Iron is forged by fire, wind, and soul. Weapons made with passion, even if rusty on the outside, still gleam white within. Just like people who are reborn from adversity. After she finished speaking, she invited the boy. Would you like to stay at my home for a while? Before becoming independent, you can learn all these things. Eskar, during the tour just now, had already memorized the mithril forging techniques and practice methods. He only needed to get rid of this trouble, and then go back. That was his plan. But seeing the girl's smile, he seemed to not know what to do anymore. Laro wiped the water from his face. You must be tired today too. Would you like to go back, take a bath and drink some cool milk? He seemed bewitched again. Thinking to himself, this is the last time. Laro suggested, let's play a question game on our way down the mountain. The boy spoke first. I'll start. Have you always been this insensitive? Laro admitted frankly. This left the boy completely speechless. How can such a person exist in this world? That's just how our family is, except for my eldest brother. Now it's my turn to ask. When is your birthday? That question is meaningless. Ask something else. Why is it meaningless? That's the day you were born. The boy's voice grew colder. I said those things are completely meaningless to me, because he had been hated since birth. The Eskar family possessed great power, but also carried a curse, so he didn't need these useless emotions. Seeing him like this, Laro said with regret, then I'll ask something else. Is there anything you want to do? I do have one thing. I want to go back quietly. All right, she wouldn't ask anymore. The girl's father, like her, was a very enthusiastic person. Even his way of expressing welcome was identical. He fed him. The eldest brother worked in the royal court. The younger brother enjoyed traveling. Laro was the third child. Even someone as cold as Eskar could see this was a very harmonious family, completely different from his own. Second brother Keith suddenly looked at him. And you? From now on, you're also part of our family. So when I talk to you, you need to answer. Eskar stared at him, then turned his head away again. Being ignored several times made the second brother angry, shouting that he would teach him a lesson. Keith, what are you doing? This little brat needs some violence. But the next second, he was the one who got hit. Our family never hits children. Then why did you hit me? You're not a child, are you? After dinner, Laro took the boy back to his room. How is it? Though a bit extreme, they're not bad as family, right? Eskar stopped as if thinking about something, then turned to her seriously. Not bad at all. That's wonderful then. Sleep well tonight too. After sending the boy back to his room, Laro didn't rest, but found her brother. Her expression became solemn. Brother, can you help me find out where this child came from? In the days that followed, the boy indulged in the kindness here. So he stayed. Eskar, is that a burn? The boy didn't understand. It was just a small wound. Why was she so anxious? It turned out her brother had once been burned because of her. I'm not hurt because of you. He didn't like seeing Laro dejected. It made him restless. He used to think noble ladies lived pampered lives, which was why she was so cheerful and optimistic, but she seemed different. She had calluses on her hands and large stretch marks on her arms. Laro didn't hide her flaws. She was very fat as a child and was bullied and insulted for it, so she desperately lost weight. After slimming down, those who had insulted her actually confessed to her. That person didn't understand her at all, only attracted to her carefully groomed appearance. From then on, she decided not to marry, though she spoke lightly about it. Eskar could feel her sadness. Even so, Laro is still like a sword that has become soft and reforged. Eskar couldn't help but wonder if he extended her hand. Would she accept him? Seeing the boy not following, the girl turned back to urge him. What are you standing there for? Why aren't you following? Eskar avoided that clear gaze. He noticed flowers in the distance. Isn't the garden tended to? Laro was a bit embarrassed. Actually, I'm a bit allergic to pollen. But I still love flowers. She couldn't carry flowers but could bring them for others. She sneezed as soon as she finished speaking. The flower by the boy's ear fell. She bent down to pick it up. Second brother Keith, from not far away, witnessed a scene that shocked him. The boy keenly sensed that Keith had hidden himself. His heart pounded like thunder. For the first time, he became suspicious of Eskar. The way he looked at his sister was too strange, like a beast eyeing its prey. He had to tell his father. Meanwhile, in the imperial city, the eldest brother was reading a letter sent by Laro. The second prince smiled. Only family letters could make you read during work hours. How is Laro doing? He became defensive. Your Highness, please set aside your concern for my sister. Yet he didn't know that his precious sister had already caught someone's eye. Laro looked content. Wasn't that amazing just now? I've been forging for so many years, but this is the first time I've seen blue flames. How did they appear? The flames were Eskar's. Because he saw Kaigaro with Laro, he temporarily lost control, which made him very depressed. Laro noticed he was reading a history book about the kingdom of Sospe. Could he be a genius? So young yet able to understand such a difficult book? Her eyes shining with curiosity made her thoughts easy to guess. The girl's voice flowed into his ears like a clear spring. Actually, Sospe is a place I yearn to visit. I heard the maple leaves there are beautiful, but because of Eskardeki, we can't see them anymore. The boy quietly defended himself. The king of Sospe wasn't a good person. He was worse than Deke. That doesn't justify destroying a country. Sorry, Eskar. You have the same name, it must be uncomfortable to hear. Is that why you didn't want to tell me your name before? The boy buried his head in the book and remained silent. Don't worry, you're nothing like him. I heard that man is cold-blooded, heartless, and has a terrible personality. But Eskar, reading like this will hurt your eyes. After a while, the boy's muffled voice came. Don't worry about me. He was used to such bad talk. In some ways, it was true. Burning everything that displeased him was his way of doing things. But it still hurt to hear it from someone he cared about. He couldn't help looking at Laro again. You're injured. She didn't even know when it happened. Seeing the girl didn't care. He thought if only he had learned healing magic. Besides Sospe, what else would you like to see? Laro thought for a moment. Rather than seeing, there's something I'd like to receive. Flowers. The boy looked exasperated, as if saying, "You're allergic to pollen yet want flowers?" Although Laro didn't want to marry, her father was against her staying single. If she had to marry someday, she wanted someone to propose with flowers. It didn't need to be expensive, even just one bloom would do. Only after speaking did she realize how awkward it was to say such things to a child. She asked the boy, "What about you?" "I don't have any." That's quite a definitive answer. Although Eskar said he had nothing, he actually already had something he wanted to possess. He spent the entire summer at the Adero house, contrary to his plans, and was about to spend autumn as well. Not long after, Laro's father spoke with him privately, wanting to adopt him. He knew it must be because Keith had seen something that day. "Count Monserrato Adero. Rather than being your foster son, I want a different identity." Eskar began to consider the future. His gaze focused on only one person. That was Laro. "Eskar, what are you doing here? I was just looking for you. The weather is nice. Let's go out and play." Laro extended her hand to him. In his heart, he answered, "Actually, I've been looking for you too." He didn't quite understand this feeling yet. The no longer calm heartbeat seemed to herald a coming storm. Seeing the boy not moving for a long time, Laro asked, "Eskar, aren't you coming out? Is it inconvenient to climb out? Then I'll come over to you." The boy prepared to destroy everything, but was discovered by the one he loved. Faced with the girl's accusations, Eskar awoke from his dream with a start. Fortunately, it was just a dream. In his daze, the girl's voice came from outside the door. It was the first time he had seen Laro so nervous. "Has something happened?" Laro stared at him blankly. The next moment, tears welled up in her eyes. The doctor said P's child wouldn't live past today. She hadn't slept all night out of worry. Eskar looked at the teary-eyed girl, only hating that his current body couldn't embrace and comfort her. "He'll be all right, you go back and rest. Rather than crying here, you'd better go back and pray," although she didn't believe in God. Saying this could give her some psychological comfort. "Don't worry, that child will be safe and sound." When Laro was awakened by the maid, she heard the news that the child had been rescued. Laro excitedly wanted to tell Eskar. God really heard their prayers, but the moment she opened the door, she was shocked by the scene before her. Hundreds of butterflies surrounded the boy. She raised a chair to drive away these butterflies, but it had no effect. So noisy. The moment the boy spoke, the butterflies disappeared like broken bubbles. He looked weak. Laro put down the chair. "Are you okay?" The boy sighed. "I'm tired of hearing that. Calm down first." Eskar had used his magic to save the dying child. Using his destructive power to save someone was a risk for him. So he was very weak now, but seeing Laro worried about him seemed to make it all worthwhile. He refused her request to call a doctor. "I just need some rest." The girl didn't insist. "I'm sorry I came too late. I won't leave you alone again." Eskar's feelings were strange. Then came singing, gentle and melodious tones from the girl's mouth. Was it a lullaby? He was hearing one for the first time. Eskar gazed at her. "So this is what peace feels like?" The child recovered in just a few days. The doctor was surprised because there was no record of survival for this type of disease. Everyone believed a miracle had happened. Today the Count was traveling far, and it was also the day he should leave here. He said goodbye to Laro. "Do you really have to go?" "Yes, I've already spoken with the Count. I will come back soon." "You're not even taking a carriage? Although you say someone is coming to pick you up, at least wear this. Don't get sick wherever you go. It's okay if you don't want to come back." Eskar sighed. "I will be back soon, and I have something to tell you then." His sister and others must be looking for him, and he hadn't figured out how to make Laro accept his true form. "Eskar," the girl suddenly hugged him. "You must come back." This was the most ardent summer of Eskar's life. He could feel that, even if this intense emotion would melt him in the future, he would gladly accept it. Laro hadn't expected that on the very day Eskar left, Adero would suffer its greatest attack ever. The head of the Rafea family, in the absence of her father and brother, ambushed them. The girl put on her armor, shouting for children and the elderly to hide. She took up her sword. For the honor of the family, she would never back down. While Eskar was walking down the mountain step by step, choosing to walk instead of using teleportation magic, he was reluctant to leave this place filled with memories of Laro. Even his clothes still carried her scent. He looked back. By now, she should be resting. In the next moment, the boy keenly sensed something. He placed his palm on the ground, feeling the vibrations. This wasn't the Count's carriage. The smell of fire permeated the air. Something had happened at the Adero house. In the next instant, the boy disappeared. When he teleported to the mansion, towering flames surrounded everything. He looked at the knight who sat crumpled on the ground. "Where is Laro?" Flames swirled around the boy with his magic. His eyes flashed with ferocity. "Where is Laro?" Eskar was ultimately one step too late. He witnessed Laro's fall with his own eyes, after cutting down another enemy. Laro's eyes had become wooden. She murmured about the family's honor. Bodies littered the ground, indistinguishable between enemy and ally. How many had been sacrificed? Her body was also reaching its limit. The leader of Rafea appeared behind her. By the time she noticed, it was too late. The cold metal broke through her armor and pierced her body. Her vision began to blur. Before her eyes appeared illusions of her family, her father and brothers, and that boy she worried about. In an instant, blue flames swept through. "Please, wake up!" She hazily opened her eyes but couldn't see clearly. Still, she recognized the voice. "Eskar, it's me. I'm here, so please don't— Eskar, I can't see." The battle was too intense. She used her remaining strength to raise her hand, urging him to flee quickly. After speaking, the girl fell silent. The boy still stubbornly called her name, repeatedly saying sorry. The moment he witnessed her fall, Eskar's magic went berserk. He killed everyone here, including the Adero soldiers. The blue butterflies appeared again. They surrounded Eskar and fluttered, then began to spread outward, landing around the Adero soldiers. As the healing light shone, the boy's body began turning black bit by bit, spreading to his neck and head. In no time, he began coughing up blood profusely, but he still didn't stop supplying magic. He reached out to touch Laro, but finally dropped his hand. Raindrops fell as if crying for the passing of life. The boy never raised that hand again. When Laro woke up, she was back in her room. Her brother kept watch by her side. She anxiously asked if Adero had won. "Was it you who saved me?" Her brother held her hand. Adero won. But actually, by the time they arrived, everything was already over. Rafea was completely wiped out, yet Adero's soldiers all survived. Even soldiers with broken armor only had minor injuries. Those who woke up didn't remember what happened. "I heard you had the elderly and children evacuate first." That was well done. After speaking, he got up to call the doctor. "Brother, what about that child? He said he would come back soon. I don't know if he got caught up in the Rafea battle." Her brother stopped without turning around. Only after a long moment did he speak with difficulty. "That child has passed away." Lara was shocked. "Impossible. At that time he was still— Isn't this cloak beside you his? It was found on you. I found his body not far away. He has already been cremated with the others." She cried out. "How can this be? It can't be. Big brother, tell me this isn't true." But all she got was a request to rest well. Laro couldn't believe that the boy who had smiled and told her he would be back soon had left this world. "Eskar." She clutched the fitted cloak and wailed in pain. Her father stood outside the door. Her brother, however, said something else. "Please tell her the child is gone as agreed. We don't know if he's alive or dead, nor do we know his true identity. We have many concerns. I could never let Laro exhaust herself looking for someone who might be deceased or get involved in a dangerous world. So let's keep it concealed." Since that incident, Laro spent a long time unable to overcome her grief. She even named the child she delivered Esti, only one letter different from Eskar's name. Adero annexed the defeated Rafea. This year, everyone was working hard to restore the territory. She also entered the process of marriage arrangements. Although her father and brother said it was fine, she knew this was the fastest way to help strengthen the territory, except for necessary social occasions. Laro spent almost all day in the blacksmith shop, as if trying to forget something. Kaiguro looked at the young lady like this, and felt somewhat heartbroken. It's been a year. That child must have gone to a beautiful place. Laro's eyes were sad. "Perhaps. Young lady, there's a new auction house opening today. Would you like to go see it?" The auction house was located in Quebec. The head of Adero was supposed to attend but had an emergency, so Lara was sent in his place. Though it was summer, maple leaves covered the trees. It was said that Quebec's master had close ties with the royal magician, creating such a beautiful scenery, Lara remembered. This was the place Eskar had recommended she visit, another city with maple leaves. They had even promised to come see the maple leaves together. Now everything had changed. She shook her head. She couldn't think about these things anymore. For the sake of her family, she needed to pull herself together. Kaiguro suddenly called to her, pulling out an invitation card. It was sent by the family supporting the auction. The font looked somewhat familiar. "Excuse me, are you the daughter of the Adero family?" At this moment, a guide appeared. "Please follow me." Because they entered through the second door, nobles waiting in line began to gossip. "Who are they? Isn't that the foolish Adero family?" These gossipers didn't avoid her at all. Suddenly someone warned them. "Hey, watch what you're saying. Don't you see what she's holding? That's the invitation from the Duke." At that moment, the grand door opened. "Sorry to keep you waiting. Please come in." Even just the garden alone could be described as magnificent. Lara was led to the waiting room. The attendant reminded her that she would need to wear a mask when entering the venue. At this time, Lara didn't know. This was an auction held specifically for her. Big brother Polika was sternly questioning the second prince. "That's the Quebec family belonging to Deke. How could you let such a dangerous family get involved with us?" "Calm down first. Crisis always coexists with opportunity. An alliance with the Deke family has no downside at all. If you have Deke backing you up, doing anything would become much easier." He pushed away the second prince. "We don't need that. Although that may be true for you, but look at your family's situation. If you had Deke's protection, no family would dare look down on you again. You surely don't want your sister to be in danger again, right? Quebec Auction House belongs to the Deke family. If you could auction Adero's goods there, your family's items would also increase in value. The Deke family is interested in forming an alliance with you. Why not seize the opportunity? Palika, this is a chance. If you want to truly protect your family, you must strengthen your family's power. The second prince, seeming to know something, smiled like a fox who had gotten his way. So don't think too negatively. Perhaps Deke will like Laro, who knows, a man to please his future bride. Spared no expense to host an auction. First inviting the bride to the main seat at the auction. Then bringing up mythical treasures one by one. The nobles in attendance couldn't even think about bidding, let alone have the courage to offer a price. Each treasure would require selling off one's entire estate to acquire. The nobles gradually calmed down and simply appreciated the items. Until the auctioneer announces the highlight of the show, the last item on the floor, amidst the anticipation of the crowd. Instead, a mediocre arrow was revealed. The whole room was silent. What is that? It doesn't look valuable at all. The auctioneer smiled and announced the starting price of 1 gold coin. Compared to the previous items worth billions, this seemed ridiculous. Are you mocking us by asking us to buy this garbage? Some troublemakers started to disrupt. I'll bid 2 gold coins then. Only Laro recognized what it was. It was a divine weapon crafted through the sacrifice of dozens of master craftsmen. As a craftsman herself, she absolutely couldn't tolerate such a treasure being desecrated. 100 million gold. This was almost all the Adero family could offer. Even so, she wanted to bring it back. The venue began to stir. Is she crazy? The auctioneer suddenly spoke up. May I ask why you're bidding such a high price? Laro immediately understood. The other person knew what this was. She didn't hesitate. This is an arrow that would never break even if the world were to end. Those who don't understand it might think it useless, but people who truly know how to look at things won't dismiss something based solely on appearance. The nobles not only didn't believe her but began attacking her. What nonsense! Who are you to talk like that? I am Laro Noi of the Adero family. What? That stupid Adero? You should go back home and hammer iron, or just find a husband and get married. Amid the chaos, someone suddenly made a bid. 10 billion gold. I'll buy it. A slender hand put down a wine glass. Isn't that Deke Marquis? Laro looked toward the voice. Is that the crazy devil Escar Deke? Their eyes met, giving Laro a shock. The surrounding comments began to change. Could it really be a treasure? It can't be wrong if the Marquis bid to buy it. It must be valuable. The auctioneer wore a professional smile, although Miss Laro couldn't secure the item. You were the first to recognize its value. The craftsman spirit of the Adero family truly passes down through generations. Having such a discerning lady grace us with her presence is our utmost honor. To show our gratitude, Quebec will present you with a small gift. With your unique eye, I believe the weapons and armor made by the Adero family must be extraordinary. All items publicly offered by the Adero family will be auctioned at Quebec Hall 4 from now on. This was tantamount to helping Adero open up markets outside their region. Their family's proud products could finally circulate in other places. Even her mask couldn't hide the girl's joy. And not far away, Deke Marquis's lips also curved into a smile. Even after leaving, Laro still found it hard to believe what had happened today. She not only saw the maple leaves, but also helped her family open up markets. It was like receiving a gift. Escar, are you watching? You were right. Quebec's maple leaves are amazing. The carriage slowly drove away, but the person by the window didn't move his gaze for a long time. Escar murmured Laro's name. I will come to see you soon. Laro's family finally saw better days after gaining Quebec's favor, but her brother, knowing the inside story, was extremely worried. That madman's target was his sister. He advised Laro that she could refuse if she felt uncomfortable, but having obtained such a hard-won opportunity, how could the girl give it up? She arrived at the capital's most popular armor shop. The current popular armor styles were ornate. They looked good but weren't practical. Adero, on the other hand, emphasized practicality and durability, but due to appearance issues, they weren't widely accepted. She firmly believed quality would triumph over mere looks. She believed people would soon recognize its value. Laro then noticed a piece of armor nearby. Not only was it well designed, but also very sturdy. She could tell at a glance it was forged by the dwarf kingdom of Arthea. The shop assistant approached. This is armor from the Deke family, imported from Arthea. Deke again. She seemed to keep getting connected to him lately. Despite having such powerful resources, he mercilessly hurt innocent civilians. Seeing the girl staring at the armor, the shop assistant thought she was concerned about the price. If you find the price expensive, we have cheaper items over here. When Laro left the shop, she immediately contacted her second brother. It turned out this shop was selling counterfeits. They were using inferior products falsely claiming to be made by the Deke family. Laro asked her brother to keep her report anonymous. She didn't want to get involved with Deke. Tired from shopping, Laro found a tavern to rest. A big gulp of cold beer made her feel alive again. She thought of her brother Lint, whom she hadn't been able to contact for a while, wondering where he was causing trouble this time. Just then, a figure passed by outside. That profile looked extremely similar to the boy, Escar. Laro got up and chased after him, accidentally bumping into someone on the way. She apologized without stopping, but when she got outside, the person had disappeared. That person looked too much like Escar. But it had only been a year. The boy couldn't have grown so big. Did she see wrong? Suddenly, someone roughly grabbed her. Hey, you bumped into someone and just ran off like that? Laro apologized again, but the person wouldn't let it go. Is an apology enough? My shoulder still hurts. It was obvious they just wanted money. This should cover medicine costs. But the man clearly wanted more. This little money isn't even enough to buy herbs. Hand over all your money. Laro was planning to resolve it quietly. Just as she was about to teach the men a lesson, a male voice sounded from behind her. We meet again. She turned to look. The person removed his hat brim, revealing a face one could never forget once seen. Hello, Laro. But she didn't remember knowing this person. You know me? The thug, ignored by both, suddenly made his move. We're not done yet. Damn, she forgot to bring her sword out. The man extended his finger with a snap. The arm grabbing her instantly burst into flames. Then blue flames spread across his entire body. The thug wailed and begged for mercy. Laro's eyes revealed fear, as if remembering something. Eskar approached her, looking at the fallen man, and mockingly said, "What an act! It's just an illusion spell." Seeing the girl still motionless, he reached out to call her. But unexpectedly, she suddenly screamed and dodged. The man was stunned. Laro's body trembled uncontrollably. She saw the boy calling for help in the flames, that small figure calling her name over and over again, begging her to save him. Eskar supported the girl, loudly calling her name. In a daze, she covered her face in pain. Could the events of that day have created psychological trauma for her? After Laro regained her senses, she was already sitting in a restaurant. Feeling better now? The man across asked in a gentle tone. He raised his wine glass. Would you like a drink? Laro shook her head. Eskar smiled, unsurprised. Indeed, seems you prefer beer over red wine. The girl hadn't forgotten the scene of him burning people earlier. What did you do to those people? Eskar could sense her tension. Don't worry, they're all still alive. Laro was about to say something, when a waiter suddenly arrived. Marquise Deek, may I take your order? Laro was shocked. He was Eskar Deek? I don't need anything. What about you, Laro? She came to her senses. I don't need anything either. The man waved his hand, dismissing the waiter. Only then did Laro realize. That blue flame was the symbol of the Deek family, wasn't it? This person is dangerous. Absolutely must not provoke him. Thank you for helping me earlier. The man across didn't seem as fierce as rumors suggested. He wore a faint smile, seemingly seeing through her thoughts. You don't need to force yourself. I have a good proposal to collaborate with you. Don't we have many things in common? Laro had a what common things expression. We met at the auction house, and we both have the eye to spot treasures. And we all share the same pride in our family-made weapons and armor. Of course the girl didn't believe him. After all, the Deek family had always accumulated wealth through smuggling weapons. As if reading her thoughts, he put down his wine glass. I've changed my mind now. Since I took over, we no longer do weapons smuggling business. Also, Laro, don't you find it despicable how weapon shops sell inferior armor at high prices? They had surprisingly similar thoughts. Well, before she could answer, the man's smile deepened. Yes, I feel the same way. The Deek family has the authority to change the situation, but we lack experienced hands in making weapons and armor. In short, we lack talents like you. Lara was stunned. Me? Of course. Think about it. Collaborating with me isn't a bad thing. Seeing he was about to leave, she put aside her hesitation. May I ask if you have a younger brother or nephew, or any relative who looks very similar to you? The man was silent for a moment, finally answering, no. I mean, how could such a coincidence be possible? I'm sorry, I overthought it. Eskar hadn't expected that incident would impact Laro so deeply. He recalled the past. Although their time together wasn't long, those scenes were still vivid in his memory. What are you thinking about? I came in and you didn't even notice. He turned to look. I didn't allow you into my room. Why do I need your permission? This is the Deek family mansion. The visitor was Eskar's only sister, Tanae Deek. But the siblings' relationship wasn't very good. Eskar looked impatient. Say what you need to quickly. I'm the master here. You're so boring, I was just joking. Just then there was a commotion outside. What have you brought back this time? I saw someone tampering with our weapon shipment, so I caught him. We'll send him to the palace at dawn. But unexpectedly, that person burst in. He called out urgently. Wait, I really didn't know I was causing such big trouble. I was just brought there by someone. Eskar lost patience. Drag him away before I take action. But upon seeing the person's face, he froze. What's your name? He was certain he had never seen this person before, but his face looked 80% similar to Laro's. Lint. My name is Lint Adero. Laro's constantly worried brother had been captured by Eskar's sister in this way, trying every means to get close to the girl but always being avoided by her. In desperation, he sought advice from the girl's brother. Two lifelong singles together. One dared to make things up. One dared to believe. Laro's first auction didn't go well. Most of the Adero family's products remained unsold before she could feel disappointed. The Marquis walked over. Are these today's unsold items? Laro actually understood the reason. Without gorgeous appearances, they couldn't attract the noble's attention. She was planning to go back and discuss solutions with the craftsman, but Eskar told her to wait. In my view, these products will soon be recognized. Sturdy Adaro armor will definitely get people's attention. Oh, and forget about my proposal from last time. She had planned to reject it before coming to the auction, but was afraid of offending Eskar by doing so. Miss Laro must have many things to attend to now. You certainly want to focus on the auction first, right? She thanked him softly, surprised that he was so understanding. Eskar suddenly reached out and plucked a maple leaf that had fallen in her hair. By the way, may I call you Laro from now on? I've been calling you that without your permission and feel guilty about it. Lara paused for a moment before saying yes. She didn't understand why Deke was so nice to her, but her instincts told her to keep her distance. My father is waiting for me. I need to move things, so I have to go now. Eskar still smiled gently. All right, see you next time, Laro. He watched the girl's carriage leave. Her guard is so strong. How can I get close to her? Eskar remembered the boy from last night. Laro's brother Lint, who should have been sent to the royal palace for detention, was now living comfortably in the Marquise's mansion, and was giving love advice to the man before him. For men, the most important things are looks and wealth. As long as you look good, you'll generally be well received. Then comes the gift offensive. All kinds of luxurious gifts, jewels. He took a bite of cake, but what kind of woman are you interested in to be asking these questions? You are the Deke Marquise after all. Eskar asked in return, does your sister like those things too? Of course. Good-looking, capable, and devoted, plus dazzling jewels. At least that level is needed to win my sister's heart. In short, this is a common trait among girls. Brother, your looks are fine. The rest just needs financial support. One was talking nonsense, the other listening seriously. Eskar instructed the maid to take good care of the boy. Tine was confused. Why not send him to the royal court? The crown prince has come asking for him. Eskar frowned. You told the crown prince about this? Of course not. I don't know how he got the information, but he insists on taking the Adaro boy away. Eskar quickly understood the key issue. Although Adaro wasn't a prominent family, their eldest son supported the second prince and was good friends with him. Hailjan, who had always presented a casual image, suddenly showed his capabilities, threatening the crown prince. So he wanted to charge Lint with crimes to undermine the Adaro family's position. But no matter what, he wouldn't hand over the person. You keep an eye on that boy, Tine was. Thus suddenly assigned a boy by her brother. Is anyone there? I want to contact my family. The uninformed Lint opened the door, only to see the beautiful sister who had captured him, with his daughter being targeted by the Empire's most dangerous man. The worried father started arranging blind dates for her, but unexpectedly, the blind date man was too forward, and happened to be seen by the wolf he was trying to protect her from. Laro looked helplessly at the overly enthusiastic man, just as she was thinking about how to politely escape. She saw a familiar figure. He seemed to be looking this way. Was it her imagination, seeing the man walk away? She said excuse me, and chased after Eskar, the Deke Marquise, rumored to be cold-blooded and cruel. After several interactions, Laro found he wasn't that kind of person. He always smiled at her, whenever they met at the auction house. He gave her considerable help, making it hard for her to believe. He was the terrifying protagonist of the rumors. The man turned around at her call. She greeted him proactively. Good morning, Marquis. Eskar stared at Laro. Good morning. But I'm not sure if it's good or not right now. Did he have something unhappy? Seeing the girl watching his expression pitifully, he spoke again, but with a jealous tone. I see you've eaten well today. So energetic. The girl didn't catch his tone, and scratched her head embarrassedly. Is it that obvious? I did eat an extra bowl of rice than usual. He had just been upset seeing Laro standing with another man. This woman really hasn't changed at all. Eskar's smile caused Laro to have another illusion. He really looked like that boy. How could people look so similar? Why are you looking at me like that? Seeing the girl not answering, he asked again, did you follow me just to say hello? Only then did Lara remember. She came to return the silver key Eskar had lent her to store goods. She fumbled and realized she'd taken the key her brother gave her. Not this one. This caught the man's attention. Where did you get this from? It's a gift I received, so I thought I'd return the key you gave me before. Laro didn't know. The key her brother gave her was actually from the second prince. But because Polika guards against any man who approaches her sister like a thief, he never told Laro who it was from. And busy looking for the key, Laro didn't notice the man's changed expression. Found it, here it is. Eskar took it. Finally, he couldn't help asking, what were you two talking about earlier? Laro thought about her blind date. Although nothing was decided, there was no need to hide it. That gentleman is someone I'm supposed to meet for a blind date. Supposed to meet for a blind date? Eskar repeated her words, but his voice had grown much colder. Laro thought he was indeed in a bad mood, just as things were getting awkward. Someone approached, Marquise Deke. I heard you were coming today and was surprised. Pleased to meet you, I'm Avia Quebec. This was the Quebec City Lord's most beloved second daughter. Laro felt she should retreat and quietly said goodbye. Eskar watched the girl who gave him a good luck gesture before leaving. His expression worsened. Meanwhile, Lint was chatting with Tine about their siblings. You say my brother likes your sister? Impossible. Lint poked at his cake. It's obvious. He keeps asking me about Sister Laro. Especially when talking about her, his expression changes. You must be seeing things. That guy won't fall in love with anyone. He doesn't understand what love is, nor how to accept others' love. Just as she was about to continue criticizing her brother, Lint suddenly agreed with her. Sister, you're right. With a beautiful sister like you by his side, how could he suddenly fall for Sister Laro? Even if I traveled the world, I've never seen a beauty like you, sister. Stop that useless talk, little guy. I'm annoyed enough already. If something happens, I won't care about Eskar's fate. I'll hand you directly to the royal court. That won't do, sister. Tanae ignored Lint. She didn't believe Eskar had someone he liked. So many beauties had surrounded him before, but he never glanced at any of them. But recently he had been acting strange, reportedly asking about jewels to give to a woman. She needed to investigate what kind of woman this Laro Noi was. The girl, to prove her shield was the best, at the auction house, made a vow. If anyone could make her shield crack with one strike, she would give up all her family's earnings from today's auction. But unexpectedly, the challenger turned out to be the Empire's strongest man. The reason Laro made this bet was that before the auction, she had wagered with an old man. If she could make her goods fetch the highest price at this auction, he would give her the shield he brought back from the Tar Sea. Otherwise, Laro's shield would be his. The old man summoned a treasure chest. He was actually also from the Deke family. The Tar Sea shield was something her grandfather had wanted to place in the display cabinet before his death, so she very much wanted to help fulfill her grandfather's wish. Just as Laro was thinking about how to win the bet, she met Eskar. You're not watching where you're going. She quickly moved aside, saying she was thinking about something important. Seeing his questioning look, she explained it was a bet with someone, but halfway through felt she shouldn't be saying this. To her surprise, the man suddenly cornered her against the wall. Continue, Laro. The girl froze. This distance was too close. Eskar seemed to know her confusion. Nobles all like eye-catching things. They're actually very simple. If you can prove the value of something in front of them. Laro excitedly said, That's it! She just needed to demonstrate the value of the Adero shield to everyone. So that led to her personally demonstrating it on stage. Amid doubts from the crowd, Eskar confirmed with her again, Are you confident your shield can block my flames? The shield she brought this time was forged with Dralaten's blood. It could defend against almost any attack. This was also why the old man had his eye on the shield and made the bet with her, but she was still traumatized by Deke's fire. Laro nodded. Eskar stepped forward. Then close your eyes. Trust that the shield will protect you. Laro looked at the shield in her hand again. She trusted herself and the honor of Adero. For some reason, although she feared the blue flames, if it was Eskar, she somehow felt there was nothing to fear. As the flames extinguished, the whole venue gasped in amazement. The plain-looking Adero family shield had actually blocked Deke's fire. As soon as the auction ended, she was surrounded by nobles. Everyone was eagerly ordering shields and weapons from her. She noticed Eskar quietly walking away. She apologized to the nobles, telling them to place orders directly with the Adero family, and chased after him. Marquise Deke. Thanks to you, I won the bet. No need to thank me. It's the merit of your family's shield. When Laro won the bet, the old man gave her the shield along with the silver key. He knew it was this man helping her. Eskar frankly admitted. His name is Pyril. He's my agent. Those were arranged by me, so now this key is yours. But our bet was only for the shield, not including the key. I want to return it to you. If you feel indebted, then give me something else. Don't you have another key? That golden key. With that, Eskar took out a letter. It was actually an invitation to the Deke mansion. The arrow I won at the auction. Don't you want to see it? Besides that, I've also collected many rare pieces of armor. Just coming to see them shouldn't be a problem, right? Seeing her accept it, Eskar smiled and reminded her, The weather is turning cold. Dress warmly when you come. Soon after, Laro boarded a carriage and arrived at the Deke family's territory. They said there would be a banquet, but since arriving here, Laro had seen no one except attendant. The Marquise is preparing. You can look around as you wish first. Laro was immediately attracted by the rich collection of items here, including various treasures she had only seen in books. Finally, she stopped in front of a display case, attracted by the armor gauntlets inside, until Eskar appeared. Do you know the story about these gauntlets? I know a little. This is a gauntlet a blue dragon gave to a human woman, right? And it was named Roa after that woman. Eskar told the sequel. That dragon used the identity of Polimov to walk among humans. After meeting Roa, the blue dragon fell in love with her and revealed his true identity. But that woman betrayed him. Even so, he willingly accepted her exploitation. In the end, he left this gauntlet and departed. Laro was stunned. I didn't know it was such a sad story. But Eskar didn't think so. I actually think he was foolish. Since he had power, he should have destroyed those who used and insulted him. Is using power to solve everything your approach to handling matters? She wanted to ask Eskar but didn't dare. The banquet should be ready, right? But his response was unexpected. I'm not going. Why? This banquet was forced by my sister. And if I go, everyone will feel uncomfortable. Laro denied this. They won't. Rumors say, Marquise, you are cruel and merciless. I've also seen you attack others without mercy, although I don't like your weapons business. You are much kinder than I imagined. It seems you're mentioning more of my flaws than merits. I'm sorry. I meant, if you could behave well at the banquet, everyone would surely change their impression of you. Eskar smiled. It's okay. This banquet isn't important to me anyway, but I heard your fiancé is coming. Eskar was stunned. Fiancé? Yes, you actually believe such rumors? Everyone believed it. I don't have a fiancé because I already have someone I like, and I'm pursuing her one-sidedly. Lara was shocked again. Eskar could tell just by looking what she was thinking. The girl indeed started babbling. Congratulations, Marquis. Having someone you like is a very cool thing. Do you have one? Lara recalled the past. Some approached her for her looks. Others hoped for a business marriage alliance with her family. But as for love, regrettably, I don't. But I truly think it's a very cool thing. If Marquise, you could sincerely express your feelings to the person you like, that person would surely open her heart to you. Is that so? Then you're saying I'm not being obvious enough right now? Yes. If you could be a bit bolder, then definitely. The rest of the words were swallowed back by Laro. Why was he smiling so handsomely? If he smiled like this at the person he was pursuing, he'd surely be halfway to success. Eskar still smiled gently. I'll definitely keep your words in mind. In the following days, Eskar gave out gifts like crazy. Laro took the teleportation magic circle diagram and asked Eskar to take back all the gifts he had given her. But the man just took it, glanced at it, and smilingly burned it on the spot. I refuse. Once given, he would absolutely never take back gifts. Laro really didn't understand. What exactly do you want from me? Eskar stared at her and asked back. If I tell you what I want, will you give it to me? Even if the girl was dense, she could see that the other's target was herself. And this crazy man had completely followed her advice from a few days ago, throwing out sweet words like they cost nothing. I was captivated by you. By the time I came to my senses, I was already in too deep. All the goodwill and care I've shown you are actually my tactics because I want to possess you. But you never noticed, so I changed my approach. Now you're finally responding. Laro muttered quietly that this wasn't a good method. How is it not? This advice came from someone I trust. Laro's brother Lint was living quite comfortably here. Among other things, the suggestion that Eskar should send expensive gifts was his doing. She would never suspect her own brother had sold her out. So tell me, what's your ideal type? She seemed to be getting played by this man. Better say characteristics opposite to his. I like kind, warm, and gentle people. Well, I'm working on becoming a kind person myself. Not enough. They should also know how to cook. Isn't that describing me? I'm very skilled with fire control, and my knife work isn't bad either. That's not wrong. Everyone knows he's best at killing and arson. Lara was going crazy. This wasn't the result she wanted at all, and he must be honest and law-abiding. So you like law-abiding men? I should be that way too. Eskar rose and walked to his desk. Starting tomorrow, all illegal activities of our family will be reformed, and the weapons trade you dislike will be stopped, though the process will be complicated. But I'll handle everything. Anything else? Only then did Lara realize that Duke Deke was serious about her, as he helped her into the carriage to return home. Eskar continued throwing out conditions to entice her. Think it over. I'll give you everything you want. Come play at night next time. The night view here is incomparably more beautiful than daytime. I'll make you even happier at night. Because of the sudden confession, Laro couldn't sleep all night. That man's words echoed in her ears like a spell, making her restless. She hugged her pillow, trying not to overthink. But the ambiguous words still faintly assailed her, occupying all her thoughts. When she woke up, she learned from her maid that Duke Deke had already come, and he had finished talking with her father. Eskar was preparing to leave. He should have performed pretty well just now. Although the other party seemed nervous, he still firmly stated that if his daughter was unwilling, he would not agree to their relationship. As expected, he's still a daughter-spoiling father. He looked back. Everything here remained the same as before. The seemingly stupid but brave servants, to the maids who always had foolish smiles on their faces. This home that Laro deeply loved was exactly the same as a year ago. He had taken a long time to recover after depleting his strength. It was only after returning here that Eskar first thought it was good that he had saved them. A familiar voice called him. He turned around and smiled at the girl. Lara was curious about what he had said to her father. Just as she was about to ask, she noticed flowers blooming all around. She was going to have an allergic reaction to the pollen again. Eskar noticed her discomfort. I remember you seem to be allergic to pollen. Who planted these? Laro explained between sneezes. It must be the new gardener who accidentally planted them. Before she could finish, the man extended his hand. The bright flowers were instantly ignited. Laro was stunned. Why did you burn all the flowers? Because they made your body uncomfortable. Do you want me to stop? Of course. Then please tell me. She didn't quite understand but did as told. Please stop. The blue flames extinguished. Eskar smiled. See how I listened to you? You told me to stop and I stopped. And I have no intention of moving against your family. You don't need to fear me. It's just that those brothers of yours are a bit troublesome. Lara was surprised. You met them too? After I finished talking with the Count, they invited me to meet them. They treated me like a dangerous flood or beast to be wary of. I apologize on behalf of my brothers. They're just too worried about me. I understand. After all, my patience is also for my own purpose. If you still feel confused, I can give you time to consider slowly. But I hope you know that no one will love you more than I do. His eyes revealed his determination to have her. As if saying so, don't think about escaping. Just accept me. I will never give up on you. Although Eskar appeared docile and presentable, Laro's brothers were indeed dissatisfied with him, especially the eldest. He was certain that Deke was pretending to be well-behaved to achieve his goals. Duke Deke, like a hurricane, would use his immense power to sweep away everything around him. He would never marry off Laro to such a person for the sake of benefits. When the second brother saw the Duke, he was reminded of that child from before because of their similar appearance. So, that's why sister is so confused. The Deke family is known as the cursed family. This is the price that should be paid for obtaining such tremendous power. So, it's natural that you aren't loved. Use your power to help mother get what she wants. The boy was suddenly blindfolded. He was surrounded by warmth. Eskar, you're just having a nightmare now. Don't be afraid. I will always be by your side. The man woke from his dream. Coincidentally, a visitor had arrived. The second prince brought news that Laro was being arranged for marriage by her family. As a good friend of Laro's brother, he knew well. Once Laro became engaged to someone else, it would inevitably enrage Deke. Better to tell him in advance, to prevent the situation from becoming irreparable. Besides, he had always supported the marriage alliance between the two families. What do you want in exchange for this information? The second prince smiled. Just consider it a greeting gift. It's not a big enough favor to deserve repayment. I just have a small matter that I'd like to use your power for. Meanwhile, Laro was on a blind date with the man her brother had introduced. The man not only knew about Deke's pursuit of Laro, but also expressed that he wasn't afraid of him. He was prepared to endure the oppression from the Deke family, from their previous conversation. She could feel that he was a kind and gentle person. If she chose him, her life would probably be very easy. But she couldn't feel happy about it at all. As she was saying goodbye to the man, he suddenly grabbed her. Miss, even without Senior Palika's invitation, I've wanted to meet you. Ever since I accidentally saw your portrait, I've always... Blue flames ignited around them. I suggest you'd better let go of that hand. Eskar suddenly appeared not far from the two. He glared fiercely. If you don't want to be burned to death. Lara withdrew her hand. She knew how dangerous Deke was, and didn't want this person to be innocently involved. Please go back first. The man was still hesitating. Deke naturally stood behind Laro. Why don't you listen to the lady? Didn't she tell you to go back quickly? After sending the blind date away, Eskar was casually saying terrifying things again. Sending him away first was a wise choice. If it had been a little later, I might have already eliminated him. Laro had always disliked his way of doing things. Please don't say such things casually. Why? Words like eliminating someone shouldn't be said casually. He didn't do anything wrong. Eskar sighed. But the current situation seems too cruel to me. Laro wanted to say something more, Duke Deke, but was interrupted. Eskar, please call me Eskar. But for someone of higher status than oneself, names are not something to be called casually. Only lovers and spouses can. Moreover, the name Eskar would remind her of that child, so she refused. I'm sorry, I can't do that. For Laro, it was just a simple refusal. But for Eskar, this moment seemed to confirm the curse his mother had spoken of. He had prepared everything the other might want, but still couldn't get what he desired. You will never be able to obtain love. As his mind was severely shaken, a subordinate suddenly interrupted their conversation. What is it? The messenger conveyed information in code. It turned out that Lint had been captured by the Crown Prince. Looks like I have to go back. And about what you said earlier, I'll pretend I never heard it. Lara hadn't thought of refusing Deke in this way. She shouldn't have agreed to her brother's blind date request in the first place. She had hurt someone's true feelings for the sake of her family. But soon she had no time to consider these things. News that Lint had been arrested for smuggling was delivered to the Adaro house. Only then did they learn that their brother had been in the Duke's territory all along. During this time, the Crown Prince, wary of the Duke's power, had not approached directly, but chose to station people nearby. As soon as Lint left the territory, they captured him. Tinai had been careless, allowing Lint to run out of the territory. Just as Eskar was considering how to rescue Lint, a servant announced that someone had come to visit. I said I wouldn't see anyone, right? The person says they must see you. It's Miss Adaro. Laro had learned about her brother's stupid act through the second prince. She came to apologize. She had just rejected this man. Now she had to come and ask for his forgiveness. But her brother's safety was more important than anything. Eskar ordered the butler to prepare hot tea. He explained to Laro that it was to protect Lint, that he had kept him in his territory. After all, the Crown Prince was dissatisfied with the Adaro family who had always stood with the second prince. But he hadn't expected Lint to be captured as soon as he stepped out of the territory. The Crown Prince was preparing to convene a noble trial, if publicly tried. The Adaro would become a family involved in weapons smuggling, resulting in loss of credibility and inability to continue selling goods. Laro panicked. Not only would her brother suffer, but the family was also in peril. Eskar suddenly stood up and extended his hand to Laro. You look like you've received quite a shock. Would you like to go out for some fresh air? The night air is very refreshing. I've wanted to show you around here for a long time, and now you're finally here. Lord Duke, I'm not in the mood to chat right now. The fragrance of flowers wafted over. She saw a beauty that could not be described in words. No, she was going to have a pollen allergy again. But after waiting a while, there was no uncomfortable reaction. This is what I prepared for you. I used special magic to create flowers that won't release pollen. I've told you many times, I'm willing to fulfill any wish for you. So, this time please use me. With my power you can protect both your brother and your family. So Laro, please marry me. The Crown Prince used Lint, who was involved in the smuggling incident, to pin false charges on the Adero family. Even though Laro's father and eldest brother went to explain, the Crown Prince still insisted on convening the noble trial. He wanted to make an example, to show the nobility what would happen to families supporting the second prince. The trial began as scheduled, even though Lint had no motive to be involved in the incident. Due to the sudden death of the only witness, there was no one to prove his innocence, and the nobles were all looking to the Crown Prince for direction. Just as the jury was about to vote, someone suddenly interrupted. I hope I'm not too late. Second Prince Hailjon arrived at the scene. I'd also like to observe and learn from my brother. Is that all right? Among the royal family, very few nobles supported the second prince. The Crown Prince was confident in controlling the trial. Of course. Brother, you are truly a generous and loving person. Hailjon suddenly turned around. What do you think, Duke Deek? The Crown Prince was utterly shocked. The Deek family had always only obeyed the emperor, and never took sides between princes. Yet today he appeared in the trial hall. The Duke invited the person beside him. Since we've been allowed, let's go in too. The person wore a ring. Appearing was a splendidly dressed Laro, who took Eskar's hand. Even her father and brothers looked surprised, seeing the nobles beginning to waver. The Crown Prince panicked. He had to stop this. Duke Deek, you cannot participate in this trial. You gave up the right to participate in noble trials long ago. No, Crown Prince. Duke Deek has the right to participate in this trial. He will hold a wedding with me within half a month. Everyone was shocked. Hailjon glanced sharply at Laro, but he quickly adjusted his emotions and turned to the Crown Prince. Did you hear that, brother? According to Romanian law, the defendant's family members have the right to participate in the trial, including soon-to-be-married families. Although the nobles unanimously agreed to suppress the Adero family, no one dared to provoke the Deek family. After Eskar sat down, he asked, "Can we continue now?" The trial judge immediately began. Those who believe Lint Adero is guilty, please raise your hands. Not surprisingly, all the nobles remained silent. He confirmed again, not a single person? Then I now deliver the verdict. Lint Adero is innocent. There was unrest among the nobles. The second prince actually had Deek as his backing. They wondered which side they should support. And everything Hailjon had done was for this moment. His smile faded as he turned to look at a distance. There was Laro, who had breathed a sigh of relief, and Eskar, whose eyes held only her. From the moment of their engagement, Eskar's buying spree reached its peak. No matter what his fiancée tried on, it was all buy, buy, buy. After all, his wife looked good in anything. Laro grabbed the shopping addict. How can you buy everything you see? What's the problem? These are all things we need for our wedding, but even so, the spending is too much. Rather than this, let's first talk about our contract. Eskar looked steadily at Laro, then took her hand. All right, whatever you want. Although they were getting married. To be precise, they had a contract marriage. Laro hadn't told her family the truth. Almost no one in the family except her brother approved of this marriage. Sister, I agree with this marriage. You little brat, how dare you say you agree when you don't know what it is? Lint's mouth was pinched, but he still defended his future brother-in-law. I've always said that Brother Eskar is a good person. He truly likes my sister. Bolika suddenly spoke up. Laro, have you really thought this through? Seeing his sister nod, he asked again. Not for other reasons. Do you know what Duke Deek might do to you? Brother, I've grown up. I know you're very worried about me, but I know what I'm doing. I hope everyone can respect my decision. For this marriage, Deek could almost be said to be taking advantage of her distress. Logically, she should have rejected it. But he gave Laro a condition she couldn't refuse. Just be his wife for this 1 year. Eskar took out the contract. It turned out he had prepared it in advance. It simply stated that the two would live together, respect each other, and fulfill the etiquette and obligations between husband and wife. There were no excessive conditions. She marveled at how favorable these terms were for her. Eskar smiled. How could that be? I'm getting you after all. Every time he was so straightforward, she didn't know how to react. I've told you before that I ask nothing else of you. I will fulfill my basic duties and etiquette as a husband. I hope you will do the same. Speaking of marital obligations, Laro recalled the maid's words and asked when they would have children. Just thinking about what would happen after marriage made her nearly explode. Eskar thought she was just nervous. He placed his hand over Laro's. Now the Deke house is also your home. You can relax a bit. Also, let's hold the wedding according to Adaro tradition. The traditional Adaro wedding is held on Stone Mountain, so it's not lavish. Laro asked, "Is that really okay? Do I look like someone who cares about ostentation?" Laro looked at him silently, her gaze saying, "Is there anyone who cares about ostentation more than you? Don't worry, the man who's about to become your husband isn't as obsessed with money as rumors suggest, just as you're about to become the mistress of Deke. I am also the son-in-law of the Adaro family. I think it's better to follow the rules of the Adaro family. Plus, that mountain feels very much like you." Laro hadn't expected Deke to be so considerate of her. "I think my eldest brother and father would be very happy to know that too." Eskar suddenly remembered something. "That would be good, but they still seem to dislike me." In places Laro didn't know about, her two brothers had both very amicably communicated with him. But he didn't mind at all and instead felt happy. "Laro, I have many family members now, real family members." This man who was about to become her husband made her think of that boy again, just like someone who had just learned the word family. His still unfamiliar yet hopeful tone inexplicably touched her heart. Elsewhere, eldest brother Bolika was drinking late into the night. He kept calling his sister's name. In childhood, Laro had been mocked for her physique. He realized belatedly from a maid's words, as a brother, he should have protected his sister. Once again, he failed to do so. Haeljin sighed. "With your demeanor, one might think the sky has fallen." But soon, he couldn't smile either. The next day, Haeljin received the Adaro wedding invitation, thinking of the harmonious scene of the two standing together. And Laro's smile. He felt inexplicably annoyed. Everything was going according to plan. If he had power, would Laro not have had to seek help from Deke? He summoned his servant. "I have something to ask of the Duke." Regardless of everyone's thoughts, the wedding was held at Adaro as scheduled. Lint looked around. Bolika asked, "Who are you looking for?" "I'm checking if Sister Tine has come," and Tine was standing not far away, watching him. The old butler remarked that Eskar was finally getting married. "You also attended his wedding today. Isn't that what family does?" Tine said stubbornly. "I'm just here to laugh at him later." As the bride entered, the wedding officially began. To be precise, she hadn't experienced much with Eskar, but it wasn't little either. Yet the contractual form of marriage left her confused. Just as the priest was reciting the blessings, Eskar suddenly spoke. "Laro, you look truly beautiful today. I even want to hide you away immediately, just for my eyes only." After such a passionate declaration, she couldn't hear anything the priest was saying. If she reciprocated his feelings, would she be able to sort out these emotions after a year? With their vows, the wedding was completed with a romantic kiss. They became each other's new family. Laro left the Adaro house with Deke and came to his other villa. He had planned everything. When the servant wished the two a wonderful night, Laro remembered. They still had obligations, the marital relationship. Eskar led her to sit on the bed. Then he bent down. "You've been walking all day in uncomfortable high heels. You must be very tired since you don't usually wear heeled shoes." He seemed to have sensed her nervousness. "I've told you many times, I won't do anything you don't like, so don't worry." Laro felt once again that this person truly liked her. She chose to respond honestly to these feelings. "It's okay." Eskar moved closer to her. "Really? I'm not confident I can stop midway." If it was with someone who considered her and everything, she thought it should be fine. Eskar kept calling her name, professing his love for her, both gentle and passionate, making her feel that perhaps they could be together forever. She hugged Eskar back. "Please take care of me for the coming year." A quarter hour ago, Eskar had been obediently waiting in the carriage. His wife returned after a long while. He asked why she took so long. Laro casually said she saw something and handled it. He reached out to smooth her messy hair. "Your hair is messy. Did something happen?" She said it was nothing, realizing that their relationship seemed to have grown closer in recent days, along with physical contact. She couldn't help but blush. "By the way, I wonder what the people at the Duke's mansion will think of me." Eskar didn't understand. "Why worry about that? They are my people. Serving you is only natural. I don't mean work." The people of Deke House feel completely different from Adaro. They seem perfect but never smile, so it's hard to understand their hearts. They've guarded the Deke family for so long. "I want to make a good impression on everyone." "I see. Then I'll order them to smile." Laro hurriedly stopped him. No, please don't." Eskar looked at her. "Even without doing that, everyone will like you. Because no one could dislike you, so don't worry." The carriage stopped. "Looks like we've arrived." He extended his hand in invitation. "Come, let's go to our castle together," her father once said. By observing the attitude and atmosphere of a residence and its people, one could understand a person. She was curious about what was deep in her husband's heart. Contrary to her concerns, the people here were very kind to her, even excessively so. The little maid's face was full of adoration. "Is there anything else you need? Although I heard from the master what you like. If there's anything else you want to try, please tell me, because I'll be serving the mistress for life." This level of enthusiasm completely matched her family at Adaro, scaring Laro into fleeing. The little maid was called Melka. She was the girl Laro had happened to save on the road. Melka had been wary of her, after accidentally overhearing the master confess to Laro. How heartbreaking for her master's first love. But within 3 days of being rescued, she came to worship Laro, her mind and eyes full of admiration. Such a cool person is actually our mistress. A few days later, Laro received a letter from home. Although not explicitly stated, since they had just returned from their honeymoon, her father wouldn't have written unless it was important. Thinking of this, Eskar volunteered. I'll go with you. After all, Adaro is now my family too. If something's wrong, I certainly can't stand by. Laro was moved beyond words. Her good feelings toward her husband deepened again. But wait, what's all that luggage behind the carriage? Back home, Laro excitedly hugged her father. Eskar remarked, they're still as dramatic as before. Lint welcomed him warmly. Hello, big brother, long time no see. It turned out Laro's father had written because a blacksmith at home was injured. Eskar didn't understand why there was such a fuss over a servant's injury. Then he heard the other say, Kaigaro wanted to forge twin swords as a wedding gift for Laro, but a fragment of Barbek iron pierced his eye. Laro looked worried. Will his eye recover? Eskar remembered this person. He probably had feelings for Laro. The only way to remove Barbek iron fragments was known to the dwarf race. And in their family, only Laro knew the dwarven language. Laro immediately understood and offered to visit Kaigaro. Eskar suddenly spoke up. I'll go see him. I know healing magic and can help buy him some time. Mainly, he didn't want to see Laro taking care of someone else. Kaigaro's condition was very serious. Thinking that he ended up like this while preparing a gift for Laro, Eskar couldn't help but sigh. He sighed and extended his hand toward the man. But he shouldn't have been using magic anymore. The butler had repeatedly warned him that a year ago he had used magic beyond his body's limits. If he continued like this, his body would eventually collapse. But thinking about how much his wife valued the people around her, he didn't hesitate and began the treatment. Laro anxiously waited outside. As the door opened, Eskar walked out. I've eased his pain and slowed down his blindness. If we can quickly find a way to remove the fragments, there's hope for a cure. Laro's suspended heart settled. Unfortunately, Eskar didn't tell her what price he paid for this treatment. He hid his hand behind his back. The blackness once again began to spread from his fingertips. Before dawn, Eskar had already set out. The dwarf mountains were too dangerous for ordinary people. He decided to go alone. But when he reached his destination, he found that his wife had arrived even faster. Laro was happily chatting with the dwarves. He asked in surprise how she could be here. His wife looked like a child caught doing something wrong. I couldn't sleep and looked out the window, seeing you preparing to leave. So I just followed. What surprised Eskar more was that the normally hot-tempered dwarves who hated outsiders were completely unguarded with Laro. A little girl offered fruit. Laro thanked her, but, in Eskar's view, one shouldn't casually accept food from strangers. Just as he finished warning her, she had already put the fruit in her mouth. They're not humans but dwarves. What if it's poisoned? He moved closer to Laro and pressed his lips to hers. The fruit was stolen away. Laro's face reddened, stunned by his action. It was because the dwarf race had very bad relations with humans, so he was so cautious, even suspicious of the food they offered. But you shouldn't have taken the fruit out like that. So many people were watching. The other justified himself. Should I have just watched you eat it? Although optimism and positivity are your strengths, you should be more cautious, whether with dwarves or anyone else. At this moment, an old voice came. Watch your words. We're not as despicable as humans. Eskar introduced to Laro. This is Elder Godibus. The elder looked at Laro and asked, Eskar, is this your subordinate? No, she's my wife. Laro introduced herself. The elder said in a regretful tone, What a pity you married him. Eskar surprisingly didn't refute. Laro thought they must have known each other for a long time. The elder readily agreed to help them, but with one condition. He wanted Eskar's fire. Their hearth had problems, possibly invaded by humans. Eskar didn't agree immediately. Not now, I need a day. The elder was puzzled. Someone who doesn't even need to draw magic circles needs time? Just then, Laro volunteered. May I take a look? Eskar wanted to stop her, but heard Laro say, I want to handle this quickly and go back. I don't want you to bear this burden alone, then we'll go together. To check the hearth, you need to go in personally. I can't let you enter the fire pit alone. Laro shook her head. I'm confident in this area. Moreover, I've endured your fire, which is considered the most dangerous in the world. Trust me this time. Being the source of the dwarven forge fire. The hearth was very large. Laro put on protective clothing. The protective clothing will keep her inside for an hour, after which she must come out. Before leaving, Eskar held her back. She knew he was worried. It's okay, I'll be out soon. Inside the hearth, flames burned everywhere, even fully equipped. She still had trouble breathing. Just then, she noticed a blue flame ahead. This must be the central flame that maintains the hearth. She tentatively reached out. Surprisingly, the flame was cool. Suddenly, the flames ignited with her at the center. Intermittent voices came from all directions. She was enveloped by shadows. A giant dragon bound by chains appeared before her. "Get out! Humans are not allowed to enter here."